Hello everyone. In today's dragon profile I'll be doing is one of how to train your dragon film rarest dragons. And that is, I'll give you a hint. Its speed unknown, size unknown. The unholy offspring of lightning and death itself. Never engage this dragon. Your only chance is to hide and pray it does not find you. In today's video of a rare dragon in the film, that is, meet the Night Fury, is a medium-sized strike class dragon. For its size, they are about 28 feet 8 inches, 8.74 meters long, 9 feet, sorry, 5 feet 9 inches, 1.75 meters tall, and they weigh about 1,767, 776 pounds, or 805.6 kilograms. The wingspan is about 50 feet 3 inches, 15.33 meters. The Night Fury is one of the fastest, smartest, and rarest of known species of dragons. It is medium size and has a sleek, dark body with black scales. It also had faint, lighter patterns, similar to the manta ray. The Night Fury somewhat resemble an axolotl, gecko, and a black panther in general appearance, and it has one pair of wings with a shape of similar to bats, two pair of wing tail fins, one at the base of the tail and the other at the tip, used for control in flight for mobile. Ear-like appendages on the back of its head that shows its mood and helps it hear, as well as the other small tendril-like appendages around their jaw, depending on their age. Night Furies have a large pair of yellowish green cat-like eyes and sharp retractable teeth. Unlike most dragon species, the Night Fury lacks any kind of horns, only having flaps and aerodynamic fin-like appendages. Yeah, this one has more aerodynamics. It was streamlining appearance. Now you might be wondering, is there anything in Animal Kingdom that has aerodynamics? Yes, there is. In the real world, peregrine falcons is widely considered the most aerodynamic animal due to its incredible speed and specialized anatomy. Though other animals excel in different areas, its streamlined body and unique feathers adjustment allowing it to reach speeds of over 300 kilometers per hour or 190 miles per hour during its hunt dive, making it the fastest animal on Earth for efficient cruising. Other birds like albatross may be considered more aerodynamic. There are other animals that has aerodynamics like the cheetah, fastest land animal with a body's shape and extreme acceleration that makes it highly aerodynamic in short bursts of speed, sprints. And the Kulugo, while not a flyer, the Kulugo the is a master of gliding due to its pentagorum and membrane that extends from its face to the tip of its fingers and toes, providing a large surface area for efficient gliding. Now, back to the Night Fury. In its case, with its retractable teeth that makes it more streamlined to go faster. The tip of the snout is also prominent, resembling that of a mammal. The Night Fury's aerodynamic jet-like wings and sleek body allow it to fly at supersonic speeds, faster than any other dragon. Apart from the Light Fury, it uses the fin on its tail to help steer and maneuver, similar to that of an airplane rudder. However, the Night Fury will be incapable of flying if one of its fins is missing or destroyed, which shows that they are also used for ballast in flight. It is capable of taking flight from standing start like a pigeon. And for its abilities, the Night Fury can shoot bursts of purple colored flames composed of ions of oxygenetic, oxygenally, some mispronouncing, plasma blast, explodes directly upon impact, sometimes exploding in midair at higher altitudes because of a cut off oxygen supply. The Night Fury can fire different levels of power. For example, it can fire concussive blasts that can knock people off their feet, while at the same time being able to destroy entire battlements with more powerful blasts. They can use fire to bend the bars of the training area in Burke, and can also stun dragons, as seen in the second film. It is shown that Night Fury's plasma blasts, when they are serious, are able to kill a Viking, even for a Viking of stoic's size, with one shot. These blasts can be fired with pinpoint accuracy. The Night Fury also has a habit to light and warm up the place where it sleeps. This fire is pretty strong, being able to melt down the arena's cage, and is said to be incredibly hot, and it can ignite fireplaces, stoves, and lamps. The Night Fury's plasma blasts can sometimes be reflected off surfaces, such as rock walls. They can use this as a tactic to take out fast-moving objects in tight, narrow spaces. It has shown when Toothless fires a reflective blast to take out Heather and Windshare. This was also shown again in Family Matters, where Toothless shot one dragon flyer and reflected to hit another flyer nearby. A strange effect occurs when a plasma blast of a Night Fury hits the lightning of a Scrael, as displayed. The two blasts combine in the electroplasmatic reaction to form a sort of a mid-air seismic charge, or supernova. This blast is shown to be strong enough to knock both the Scrael, Night Fury, and any surrounding dragons out of the sky. Unlike Light Furies, a Night Fury's plasma blast cannot be used as cloaking device, because they have no need to. They rather do it at dark at night, so no point of using cloaking device. While their shot limit is unknown, it is implied to be 6. There is a lot of uncertainty about the Night Fury's shot limit. Even if most sources, and Hiccup himself, states that Toothless's limit is 6 in the final fight of the first film, he was able to fire more than 10 shots when 7 full-powered blasts in quick succession. Later in the episode, Toothless' shot limit was counted to be about 14 or 15 shots. These implied that Night Furies can recharge their blasts pretty quickly. And Toothless demonstrates an ability to set himself alight with blue flames, similar to the Monster's Nightmare. And Dive Bomb. The Night Fury's main type of attack is dive bombing. Night Furies can fold their wings to create a streamlined aerodynamic shape while they dive from the sky, similar to the peregrine falcon when they dive to hit their prey with their talons. Helping them to achieve great speed while they accelerate downwards and fire a powerful plasma blast. It has been observed that at last moment, Night Furies open their wings to create a drag, then lift off. The blast can do great amount of damage, as one seen even knock back a Red Death to the ground in the first film. If a Night Fury does this at night, it remains completely camouflaged and blends in with the dark sky, so its target can't see it coming. Furthermore, Toothless has been seen unintentionally flying straight upwards, then diving down before changing directions, such as he propel parallel to the ground to gain speed for normal flight. The approach of a Night Fury is always accompanied with a high-pitched whistling sound, meaning you will hear that sound before you can even see it coming. And for their strength in combat, Night Furies is incredibly strong, being able to fend off Vikings like Stoic and several others at once, as seen in the first film. He can carry combined weight of Stoic and Hiccup over 400 pounds. Toothless has been shown pushing a Whispering Death to the ground, which requires great force. He can also carry Hook Fang with its tail with extra weight of Hiccup and Snotlout. However, he has shown to be struggling to lift Barf and Belch with extra weight of Hiccup. Toothless can manage to lift and shrug off Meatlug even while she was sitting on him. Toothless's tail is flexible and very strong, as he used it to knock out outcast guards, push back Razor Whip, strike from a triple skite into the floor, push a large Singtail off, and easily knock Krogan unconscious. Toothless is also capable and persistent fighter on the ground. He was easily taken out by a Grunkle in a short amount of time, as well as holding his own against a Monster's Nightmare and a Whispering Death. Even with inability to fly, he's a capable fighter. He has proven against a triple strike, a dragon of similar power level. Despite having a small tail, Toothless is shown using his tail to whip other opponents. He used this to take out Dagar, despite being restrained by bolas. He used this during his fight with the fighter Razor Whip in a strikeout. Knock a Dragon Flyer off the Singtail and later use it to knock a Korgon out with one hit. It appears the Night Fury's tail seems to be prehensile or telepathic, as Toothless once-handed Hiccup if infernal while being trapped in amber. And Wing Shield. Now you might be wondering, why would it use its wings as shield when it could be vulnerable to get crushed, blasted, or even ripped off? Now, Toothless is able to use its enormous wings as to shield Hiccup from burning alive or even killed. A notable example of this were Toothless and Stormfly used it to protect Astrid and Hiccup from being buried in an avalanche. Another example was where Toothless used his wings to shield Hiccup from Torch, where a bunch of arrows bounced off Toothless's wings when he shielded Hiccup from them. Where Dragon Root arrow bounced off Toothless. Toothless also used this to protect Hiccup from the Cavern Crusher's fire, where he shielded both Fish Legs and Hiccup when both of his wings, Toothless's wings, are also able to withstand a small Shadow Wing lava blast. It would seem that Night Fury's wings can't even withstand the fire of a Singtail. And accuracy. Being a straight class dragon, Night Furies have pinpoint accuracy, so they hardly ever miss, even when disoriented by a screaming death scream. Toothless was still able to hit a screaming death in the head with a plasma blast. Toothless was also able to hit a snow wraith while the dragon was fighting a Gothei, and didn't miss or accidentally shoot the wrong target. Toothless was able to take out many berserkers in few shots, despite being on a mountain and the riders being on the ground. And for its stealth, the Night Fury's jet black color and dark scales make it blend perfectly at night, dark areas, and dark clouds. The only warnings that gives this the sound of a dive bomb with a loaded blast. Right before it attacks with its powerful plasma blast, as well as the stars disappearing behind it. The only way to spot a Night Fury flying at night is when it passes its flames engulfed blast. In the first one, Hiccup was able to shoot Toothless down as he flew past a burning catapult tower that he just shot. It works best under the cover of night. In the real world, many animals use the dark to hunt and are specifically adapted for nocturnal lifestyle. These animals called nocturnal and may hunt to avoid predators, escape heat, or because their prey is more active at night. Adaptation include enhanced night vision, acute hearing, or unique senses of echolocation in bats, and heat sensing pits in some snakes. And for its cloaking, like I mentioned before. Much like the Light Furies, the Night Fury are capable of cloaking. This allows them to blend into the surroundings. They do this in a similar manner to the Scrael by summoning / absorbing lightning from the sky. To encase themselves in lightning to heat up their scales and back flaps and turn them reflective, causing an electric aura to surround them and become temporarily invisible. Although it has been shown to use up their energy as the Night Fury enters its cloaking form, it causes a massive wave of electrical energy that electrocutes everything within close radius, which is shown when Toothless electrocutes Grimmel's Death Grippers that are clinging onto him and Hiccup, causing him to plummet into the sea. It is implied that this technique must be taught to a Night Fury by another of its species, as Toothless seems unaware of this ability until he attempted to copy the Light Fury's ability. It's either Toothless was never taught to do it himself, or he doesn't know it at all. More on that later. But there are alternative methods to perform the cloaking, as seen by the Light Fury disappearing into its own plasma blast. This ability also surprises Grimroll himself, as he didn't know the Night Furies could do this. More on that later. Despite successfully hunting them down for years, because of Hiccup's dragon suit being made of Toothless's scales, he was able to avoid being electrocuted and able to go in cloak form to stay temporarily invisible with Toothless. And for its speed and agility, the Night Fury is among the fastest known dragons. It is said to be only dragon known to reach speeds that break the sound barrier. The Night Fury's streamlined, sleek-shaped body and massive, powerful tail helps it obtain a speed limit higher than the real-life P-15 Mustang, P-51 Mustang. Night Furies don't have sharp spikes or spines. Instead, they have a short and thin fin-like spines that prevent greater air resistance. This gives the Night Furies a huge advantage in high-speed flight. Night Furies are incredibly agile dragons that can dodge many blasts from other dragons, arrows, catapults. They also have very quick reaction to opposing threats. On land, they can outrun and maneuver most other dragons, and even being able to jump to leap from various objects like trees or walls, as shown when Toothless was running to save Hiccup from a monster's nightmare in the first film. They also have incredible reflexes, as Toothless almost never got hit once by a dragon root arrow due to his expert of dodging and weavering. Many species of dragons are capable of rivaling the speed of a Night Fury while in flight. Those that have been seen do so. The Dromelion, the Death Gripper, and the Flight Mare, the Light Fury, Screaming Death, Singtail, Scrael, Small Shadow, Snow Wraith, and Speed Stinger, and the Night Light. Even giant dragons, due to their longer wingspan, like the Red Death and the Tanfumarang, are fast enough to catch up with Toothless in the air. It's not known what life the Night Fury's speed is. Well, the only source of the Night Fury's speed is that it reached a speed of over 750 miles per hour, or 1,207 kilometers per hour. And the claws of the Night Fury appear to be simply to be black extrusion of keratin. In truth, they can flex on command and act as a rudimentary fingers. In the first film, Toothless escapes the cove by being able to flex his claws and is secure with his grip past the edge of the cove wall and building himself up. The claws are also able to easily slash through Death Song Amber that has been weakened by a flaming monstrous nightmare gel. Night Furies can climb any terrain, such as cave walls, using their long sharp claws to grip surface. They can even stay on vertical wall, facing downwards without problem. This was shown by Toothless several times. He was on the fighting arena chain dome before the triple skite knocked him down. Night Furies have an uncanny sense of hearing, and they can hear long distances, as proven by Toothless, when he was able to hear Hiccup yelling from the cove, and when Toothless first heard a Scoldron, and was was the first to hear a wild monstrous nightmare flying past Dragon Rider's cave while he was asleep. They also have a large eyes that give them excellent vision to see through fog or thick clouds. As seen in many episodes, and they have night vision as they are adapted to fly at night. They cannot see well in complete darkness though. Thus, they will use echolocation. When angry or under eel influence, Night Furies will see everything in shades of red, with their images becoming blurry and contorted. They also have good sense of smell, as Toothless tracked Hiccup by his sense of smell, but loses him when Hiccup takes to the air on the back of a deadly natter. Hiccup mentioned that in the Night and Fury, that Night Furies can smell danger as a lie to save a monstrous nightmare, but it is later revealed that it was true, as Toothless demonstrated several times. Their sense of smell is acute, though not near the level of a Trekker class dragon. Toothless was able to sense a wild monstrous nightmare that was nearby, and he smelled a changeling pack despite them being invisible. And the Toothless can sense smoke breaths in a scrap of metal, and he also sensed Grimoire in the lake before the other dragons did. In the game, he was also aware of a Sweet Death's tree tongue and didn't allow Hiccup to inspect the tree further. And for their stamina and endurance, Night Furies have also high stamina and durability. They can survive falls from the sky with fairly minor injuries, as demonstrated in the film and the series. They can use their wings to repel attacks, as also shown in the TV series, where a bunch of arrows bounced off Toothless's wings when he shielded Hiccup from them. He can take attacks from his opponents and still look untouched, as after he was poisoned by a triple stike, he was still able to fight and defeat him. He also showed twice that he can endure loud sounds. He was able to endure loud screeches of a large shadow wing and still hit the screaming death despite being disoriented by their scream, suggesting loud sounds don't affect a Night Fury as badly as most other dragons. However, he was shown to be exhausted during his first search for Skrae'el, and after carrying heavy objects or someone heavy like Stoic for a whole day. Toothless was chained up for days without eating, but was still fit enough to run and fight after he break out. Toothless was able to instantly get back up despite fall from the sky and crashing into solid ice. It is shown that Toothless, if he wasn't flightless at the time, he would have flown back to save Hiccup. Night Fury is also shown to have extremely dense scales, as only a Screaming Deaths are shown to be tougher. A Night Fury's scales appear to be much tougher and stronger than the Light Furies, to the point that Night Furies need something much harder than their own fire to cloak. It is shown when Toothless uses wings to shield Hiccup, they suffer no damage. Night Furies are extremely intelligent, surpassing nearly all known species of dragon. In the TV series, Toothless can almost completely understand everything said to him. He can understand verbal cues and non-verbal cues. Toothless also displays an insurmountable ability to learn, process, and remember various tricks, like in a barrel roll. In daily casual conversations, Toothless also appears to be able to grasp Hiccup's words and comprehend a number of them. Night Furies display a high level of emotional and sentimental awareness of both humans and other dragons alike. Because Toothless can sense emotions by picking up on oral or behavioral signals and act accordingly in response to them. For example, during the events of the How to Train Your Dragon, the first film, he sensed that Hiccup was not to hurt him, and reciprocated by letting down his guard. However, his emotional awareness is not to be discarded as mere obedience. Night Furies are rare creatures that observant and elusive, and Toothless only trusted Hiccup after carefully asserting him and confirming that he wasn't a threat. Meaning, he sensed Hiccup he had a knife on him. And so, yeah. They're very smart enough to know if a human carries a weapon. Toothless was the first to sense the rider were cold and suffering, and took and to shield them, showcasing the heightened awareness and empathy towards his surroundings. In the eel effect, despite suffering from eel pox, Toothless stopped himself from shooting Blast when he accidentally hit Hiccup and ran away to protect his rider from himself. Was shown to grieve for the death of Scoldy and Grifforon, despite not priority of knowing Scoldy and not having Graf since the death song was a hatchling. Toothless was captured and imprisoned in Outcast Island, and he was able to outsmart two outcast soldiers by himself by pretending to be unconscious and tricking them into taking off his mouth muzzle. Toothless immediately figured out the smell the small shadow wings were hunting and was able to use the large shadow wings size against it. While Hiccup needed time to think of a plan. Night Furies also seemed to be one of the few dragons to show creativity. In the first film, Toothless was shown drawing after seeing Hiccup draw. In the second film, Toothless attempted to draw again after Volca drew a map in the snow. The range of his mimicry also includes human facial expressions, and displayed in the first film. And in echolocation, as mentioned before, Toothless demonstrates the ability to use echolocation when Night Furies are at a location where their sight is limited, making it hard to fly. They emanate a sonic blast that has special signal. This signal taking the shape of a purple colored sound wave, likely containing some kind of weak plasma, bounced off of all objects and obstacles nearby, and allowed the dragon to avoid them. Even in mid-flight, unlike bats, this signal, or at least part of it, is still low enough to be within the human hearing range. Humans can hear the dragon using signal. Night Furies can also use this method when they are trying to find objects in open areas where visibility is low, such as when Toothless was trying to locate a Scrael, and in a snow wraith. Night Furies have a high jaw strength that can also retract their teeth to avoid clipping, chipping, breaking, or burning when not to use the ability to retract his teeth is what earned Toothless his name. It's unknown how strong a Night Fury's jaw strength is, but is shown that Toothless left a bite mark on his nemesis, a whispered death, hide at some point in his past that has left a huge scar. But he was able to break harden Death Song Amber as when he tried to free an ambered Natter. In Night Furies, they're good swimmers, as demonstrated by Toothless He can swim at high speed and hold his breath for quite a while. But Night Furies do have a limited lung capacity and will drown unless they have access to air, as evident in the first film, in the second film, and several episodes. Although a great swimmer, Toothless can't hold his breath for long or catch up a tidal class dragons like Skoldrin. He was able to swim with extra weight of Alvin. Toothless is able to use his wings and tail to help him swim. While in the second film, he was left wet and exhausted and had to be saved by sea shockers. In this scenario, however, he didn't have much time to gather air and hold his breath, and the icy water likely shocked him and made things more difficult. Similar to the Flightmare, Deadly Natter and Grunkle, by eating glowing algae, a Night Fury's body will begin to glow. This glow is deep blue, almost indigo. It can turn it on bright in order to scare off other dragons who are trying to attack it, but does not seem to be able to turn it off until the effects wear off. However, this came with drawbacks. Usually, Night Fury's scales would blend in perfectly at night sky. But since Toothless' body started to glow after he ate glowing algae, he was unable to hide from the Flightmare. It chased and attacked Toothless, but lost him when he hid himself in a cave. After some time, the glow wore off, and the glowing algae also seemed to make his plasma blast glow brighter when, as when Toothless tried to blast the Flightmare. He seemed to be a bit disoriented in the eyes after using them the first time, but he eventually overcome it when he battled the Flightmare the second time. And while some Night Furies are affected by the calming effects of a sedge fruit, it is shown that Toothless is able to withstand the effects to protect Hiccup. And they have secondary spines or flaps on their back of the spine, as seen in the second film, showed Hiccup hidden spines on Toothless's back that even the dragon himself didn't know about. After that, he can extend them at will. Those spines are flat, leathery fins placed in a V shape and extending from his back to the end of his tail. They gave him more maneuverability and control in flight. Dragons acquire this ability when they reach a certain age, as revealed in the film commentary. And Alpha Dominance display. When a Night Fury Alpha mode is unleashed, its spine, the ridge between his eyes, the inside of his mouth, and his its nose glow with translucent blue, reminiscent of the bluish plasma blast it fires. Also, although this may be a natural video blurring. When Toothless fires shots, the now translucent blue parts of his body glow a little brighter after having fired the shots. The glow slowly fades away in alpha mode. Night Furies also appear to be not shot limited. Calls his glowing effect Night Fury. Although the Night Fury is smart and intelligent, but they do have weaknesses. A Dragon Root arrow could render Night Furies weak and vulnerable for a prolonged period of time, while other dragons can recover faster. Strong winds. Night Fury's large wings makes them vulnerable to intense or powerful shearing winds. If they were attempt to prolong hover in such conditions like small sea stacks or rock formations off coast of Berk. And they have a sensitive spot. Similar to the Gronkles and Deadly Natters, Night Furies, when scratched around their neck and chin, will be easily calmed in scratching a specific spot under its chin. Can even makes its eyes roll back and cause the dragon to collapse. And another thing, its tail fin dependency. The Night Furies' dual tail fins on their tails allow them to remain stabilized in flight. If one of its damaged or missing its wings or tail fin, they will be unable to fly, as stated above. Their tails are one of the main sources of their flying abilities, and altering the tail can change its abilities. Like there's another saying, a down dragon is a dead dragon. And cold temperatures. According to Grimwall, Night Furies are unable to survive in constantly cold environments like tundras, snowy mountains, or Arctic islands. This means that unlike most dragons, Night Furies cannot live in frigid conditions. Icy cold water and even cannot endure low temperatures. Even lower ones is shown in the second film that if Toothless wasn't saved by Selbach and Volka's sea shockers from icy cold water, he would have likely died due to his flightlessness. And flying long distances. According to Grimroll, Night Furies are also unable to fly for long distances without resting. When traveling, they need to take breaks in some islands before they can continue on. When Night Furies are tired and sleepy, they are easy prey to catch or hunt down. Even though dive bombing is a Night Fury's greatest strength, it has one major weakness. It cannot undo the confined or small areas when in flight, such as tunnels or caves, despite having enough room to fly. They can't access their full diving bomb speed. And for their behavior. According to the Dragon Manual, the Night Fury is considered to be mysterious and feared. that is often called the unholy offspring of lightning and death itself. Night Furies are generally very aggressive to any form of threat that they find, similar to how most dragons use to treat the Vikings of Berk. The Night Furies, unsurprisingly for its rarity, is an amalgamic dragon. Toothless, for example, came across an aloof and distrusting distrusting when Hiccup first met him. He is secretive and unwilling to engage in any form of contact, trying to avoid the boy repeatedly. Furthermore, in the first film, Hiccup says that a Night Fury never steals food, never shows itself, and never misses. In the first film, you see dragons like Sibbleback, the Deadly Natter, Grunkle, and Monster's Nightmare taking livestock from Vikings. But Toothless, on the other hand, he never steals food or steals anything at all. Not like he wanted to. Which begs the question, why was he there when he could have just taken the livestock when dragons did? Why didn't he do it? I guess it's a mystery that we'll never know. The Night Fury is a solitary dragon, never one to steal directly from his alpha and unwilling to reveal himself. Though they keep to themselves closely guarded when they warm up to others. Night Furies are also curious creatures that attempt to understand new things. They observe and are intelligent enough to attempt to recreate the action that they see. They're also extremely playful and intrigued by the smallest of things, like flying sparks. Night Furies seem to be social when it comes to other kinds of dragons. They are also brave and not easily deterred. Night Furies are very capable of communicating and seemingly understanding human speech. The best evidence of this when Toothless makes a noise in agreement with Hiccup regarding the fact that the Red Death can fly. When Hiccup orders Toothless not to kill Astrid and Stoic, they also fiercely loyal and protective. Night Furies are generally expressive animals. Toothless also does not have a very hard time getting his emotions noticed. For example, Toothless growled when Hiccup stepped on his drawing, or snarled in fear when he noticed Hiccup has put an eel in his dish. Toothless's pupils dilate when he is in a good mood and narrow to a cat-like slit when startled, aggressive, or controlled. Their ear knobs also very expressive, constantly perking and dropping to signal their emotions and their opinions, just like cats or dogs would do in real life, would depend on the emotion when they drop their ears. In the third film, that Night Furies are known to mate for life. However, the mating ritual of a Night Fury remains unknown, despite how Toothless follows the Night Furies dancing. Night fairies greatly resemble cats, dogs, and bats. Such behavior can be seen when Toothless licks himself and scratches himself, just like a cat's do. Night fairies resemble bats because of their hang upside down when sleeping, are nocturnal, and use some form of echolocation. They also resemble dogs in how Toothless walks in a circle before lying down, and is playful and very loyal when trained, and know to focus on what humans are saying. Outdoors, they will hang downwards from near the base of the tail, with the tail fins hanging directly front of the face and wings wrapped loosely around the body. They are also able to do so in caves, although it appears that the tail is kneaded differently and does not hang downwards. Sometimes when they're getting ready to sleep, they sang, they swung the ground with their fiery breath while walking in circle, much as a dog before lying down. Although Toothless he cannot speak, but he does show a lot of emotions through his facial expressions and body language. Toothless has even been shown to make laughing snort of noise, and often gives a critical look if he doesn't like the looks of something. Now, you might be wondering, how come we only see one night fairy like Toothless? Where are the others? Well, unfortunately, the night fairies are hunted to extinction, and the one responsible for it was Grimroll. Grimroll the Gracie is a dragon hunter that specializes in hunting night fairies, and they were responsible for his species' extinction. He originally came from a continent, and when he was a boy at around age 15, he came across the night fairy. Instead of training it, Grimwell killed it in its sleep. Well, even though night fairies have good sense of hearing, that they could hear someone sneaking up on them when they're sleeping, it appears that Grimwell gets the mind of his prey. His village hailed him as a hero for this simple act. Motivated by this, Grimwell decided to hunt down every last one in existence. During his Night Fury genocide, he managed to capture and drugged a pack of 6 Death Grippers with his own venom and trained them to become vicious killers that would only listen to his command. The Death Grippers were perfect dragon killers. Thanks to them, Grimwell could hunt and kill the Night Furies to near extinction. Also, according to Ranger, Grimwell's preferred method for catching Night Furies was introducing them to potential mate or loved one. The opposite gender one acts as bait, and when he succeeds in the capture, he kills them. Both this was what he tried with Toothless and a Light Fury, but he failed. After seemingly successful Night Fury extermination, Grimwell still used Death Grippers on his mission to hunt and kill every dragon in the world. He also became acquainted with Eret and Stoic the Vast, for even he complimented the Viking chief as one of the greatest dragon hunters to have ever lived. His intelligence, skills, and extermination of Night Furies have made him notorious. It would seem that he is the main reason why Toothless is the last of his kind/family. But it appears that Toothless is still here and standing. How did he manage to avoid Grimwell from being hunted? As I mentioned before, Night Furies aren't able to fly long distances without resting. When traveling, they had to take breaks in some islands before they could continue on. It would seem that Toothless seems to be very aware of this Night Fury hunter. It would appear that he had to keep his wits about, looking around, or even check his surroundings, or try to hide. Which begs the question, where was Grimwell? Where was he when Toothless attacked Burke in the first film, or or in the second film where Vikings and dragons get along, or even a TV series? Why didn't he just hunt Toothless down when he was on Burke? Why didn't he do it? What's stopping him from hunting Toothless in those events before the third film that he appeared? I guess it's a mystery that we'll never know about. Like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed the video. See you later, guys.